You're watching HuffPost Live. I'm Ricky Camilleri. The new movie Bear follows the relationship of a Willow P, Nevada townie and a drug-addled drifter as they roll through the desert into strip clubs and much further beyond. Bear premiered last night at the Tribeca Film Festival, and here with me now we have the stars, Dianna Agron and Paz De La Huerta, the director and producer, Natalia, Leite, and producer Alexandra, Roxo. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Hey.
Thanks for having us.
What are you laughing at?
I was like, which camera do we look
Just
at?
all,
and I just saw your producer being like,
we can just do all of them and like take a peek all around.
Yeah.
Guys, incredible film, like beautifully filmed, really incredible performances by the both of you. A performance that we've never seen you really do before. We were talking before, a very passive performance, right? One where your character's kind of taking everything in for the majority of the film. What drew you to that?
Well, I think, we had spoken a lot, Natalia and I, about what it would take and what kind of was necessary for this kind of a character. It's somebody that I've never played before, but I think very relatable, being in a situation where just life is kind of going like this and not being aware that there are other possibilities for you.
Sort of desperately searching for that thing that takes life like this for at least a little while.
Yeah.
Natalia, what's the background of this movie? Where did you get the story? I know that there's like a personal part of it for you, right?
Yeah, it's an original story that's inspired by events in my life and relationships that I've had. It's not autobiographical. I grew up in Brazil, not in Nevada, and I didn't work at a strip club when I was in my early 20s, but...
That's weird. I have that all assumed right here.
Yeah, I did actually try that later in life. But
well, you guys had that Vice series that you did, right? Where you did the truck stop stripper?
Yeah,
Is that it?
Which sort of spurred out of finding a location for this film that another project came about. But yeah, so the film is inspired by personal events and then sort of like an allegory of a moment in my life.
And now, Paz, how did you get involved? I would say, honestly, like in the last few years, you're a fixture of daring filmmakers' works. Like I had mentioned Gaspar when you sat down. You've been in Abel Ferrara's films. There's a number of filmmakers who I would label as just daring, risky filmmakers who you've seemed to jump at working with. Was that what drew you to this?
Well, that's a big topic, but I'm drawn to working with great filmmakers. What's the point in making a movie if it's not, there's so many crap films these days.
Yeah.
Natalia, what drew me to working with her was, first of all, it was a personal story, and she told me her personal story. And, before I choose to do a film, and I read this script, it was rare in that I hadn't read a script in a very, very long time that was just about humanity and love. And, when I choose to do a film, it's because I want to take that journey and I want to go through what the character goes through and, go on the journey. And she made me feel safe, and
That's an incredibly important part of doing a film like this, is feeling safe, right?
Yes, and working with, I believe, it was my second time working with a female director, but Natalia is very special in that, she, I believe I can say this, that you knew when you were going to work with me that I believe we chose each other, and that
telepathically, or like
well, that I'm not gonna put anything on the screen that I don't feel,
right?
And we really worked together on, we took the journey together, and
And it's a journey for you as well, doing something like this, right? Would you say that this is? You're known mostly for Glee, for your time spent on Glee. Would you say this is probably the most sort of daring, risky thing you may have done since then?
Yeah, in some ways. It's been really nice because like the last 2 years have been filmed with, 6 different films that are all just such different characters and such different experiences. And this in particular, being able to live in Moriarty and stay at the Best Western and kind of talk to the people and like...
It's a very glamorous shoot. Yeah. We all lived in the Best
Western lot after filming. But, also I think this is a place that I was 28 when I filmed this, and I'm playing a very much younger kind of soul, naive kind of quality that it was nice to revisit because it's definitely something that was a part of growing up for me. And even though I feel so different to that character now, like you still have moments of that in your adult life. So,
Did you feel that you were exploring the area yourself as a person while you were also sort of exploring, that character was exploring this place? Did you do some exploring yourself before shooting or while shooting?
well, I had wrapped this one movie at like 3 a.m, basically slept a couple hours, packed, flew to New Mexico, had a wardrobe fitting, and then we were shooting the next morning. But what was really instrumental was Natalia being like, hey, okay, so we're going to do a few things and I'm going to challenge you and I hope you say yes. So, we went to the strip club that Saturday and nobody knew that it was me, and I put on a wig and kind of went around and talked to the locals. And, the thing that's kind of more unique too about this particular club is it's for truckers. So, you see the big semis pulling in at night and it's very transient in that way. And, it's really interesting, the feeling.
Did that make you nervous hanging out at a truck stop strip club?
Honestly, no.
I'm nervous at any strip club.
This is such an interesting role, I think, for her because she is so confident in real life and she's so comfortable with herself, and the character is a bit lost in figuring it out, So I was surprised actually to see, we're in the desert, off the highway in a strip club, and she's just talking to all kinds of random people, and feeling totally comfortable.
just feeling
like boots this high and hair down to my waist. And
Alexandra, you're not just a producer on this. You play one of the strippers, right?
Yep, Ginger. Is her
Yeah.
name.
How did you get Ginger? Did you audition for it?
Oh, no, well, Natalia and I were working on producing this film together for a while, and she had the script and I really loved it, and we had already done a bunch of other projects together, so it just made sense for us to do this together. And we act in our stuff a lot, so I was like, hey, who do I get to be?
Yeah, well, I already knew I wanted to be in it. So.
But then it was great to act with Dianna and Paz, who are both amazing. I mean, unfortunately, my character is kind of corrupts Diana's character a little bit, but not as much as Pepper's. So
No.
there you go.
Yeah, I would say Pepper's more of the corrupting force.
I wouldn't say that.
No? Well, you had said that you had said love, and I mean, I don't want to give anything away for those who haven't seen it, but there is a question of whether or not there is actual love, or if this is just a sort of transient experience for your character. Would you say that your character loves Pepper, or is just sort of fulfilling a momentary phase?
I don't think you can go that deep with somebody if you don't find something that you love about them. And we were talking a little bit today about there are places for the people that come into your life. It doesn't mean we have this kind of obsession with forever, with whether it's marriage or friendships or how long have you guys known each other. And sometimes it's much more about the experiences that you have with people and being
The depth of the connection.
the depth of the connection, and even if there's somebody that's in your life for a couple of months, a week, a day, like I've had conversations with people that have, just blown me away and I've never seen them again. So I think that, you can't, what they go through, there's definitely love there, and it's just not a forever love in that way. It's not that they're gonna go,
I feel like two different people have two very different experiences in the world, and what I feel this film gives is the audience a chance, because I feel that Pepper actually, by saying I gave her trouble, I really feel the opposite. I feel that Pepper is somebody who has lived a very rough and tumble life, a hard life, has been let down by people, has been continuously disappointed, and finally this Sarah gives her a spark of hope and purity, and she desperately wants to open her heart and to love and to be loved. And I feel in the end, it's actually, Pepper's the one that's heartbroken, and
Absolutely.
And I feel like what Dianna says is very true, but that's for like a healthy person. Some people, get very, destroyed by something like that, and I think it would be interesting. Like, imagine a sequel. Sarah the ending's very open-ended, so the audience gets, I think the beauty about this film is that the audience gets to go maybe, which one am I? Am I the one that's going to be grateful what this relationship gave me, or am I the one who's going to be upset that it didn't work out
Well,
and be
absolutely.
heartbroken?
And I think that you talk about Pepper's life as being sort of rough and tumble, and there's the possibility that she looks at your character as something that gives her root that isn't going to let her down. She's someone that isn't necessarily weaker, but as you said, is pure, more innocent, probably doesn't strike her to be the type of person who would leave her the way that she ends up. Spoiler alert. And I think it's okay. No offense. It's not one of it's the kind of movie that works whether you know what happens or not. It's about the experience of watching it. It's about the feelings that surround the characters in the movie. One thing that we're kind of skipping over a little bit is that you guys have some pretty intense sex scenes in the film. You're talking about trust. You're talking about going on this adventure with the filmmakers and with each other. What sort of conversations do you have leading up to those scenes that make you trust that what's going to be shot and what's going to be cut is going to reveal you in the best light? I mean, in the best light character-wise, not necessarily in a vanity way.
Right.
Well, Dianna and I had a lot of conversations throughout, in prep and throughout the shoot about trust and the fact that, I know how it feels because I put myself on camera too, and just wanting to do something that's tasteful, that's not exploitative, that's not nudity for nudity's sake, and I think that
It's not that, by the way.
Yeah,
As
no,
someone
that,
who watched
exactly.
it,
Like
it's not that.
wanting to make sure that to assure her that it wasn't going to be any of those things, and talking about what we're comfortable with and not, and.
You were saying that you're more uncomfortable with everything else other than the sex scenes,
Yeah,
right?
that I was fine with.
I know. I think
saying-
also it was like later in the shoot by the time we had 3 weeks already to really get to know each other and know that it was going to be
Well,
okay.
I feel that the brilliance in Natalia's casting was casting someone as different as me and Dianna, that, from the beginning to the shoot, to the end of the shoot, to the point we reached the sex scene, that, there was a natural, Pepper is, evocative, provocative, and, she's pushing for something in her and at the same time needing a lot from Sarah. And by the point we got to the sex scenes, there was a simpatico, there was
Both as actresses and as the characters?
Yes, we got to know each other more, and there just was there was a more understanding and peace, and so it was very comfortable.
Do you guys have you ever found that, obviously it's not a truck stop strip club, but something like that you need in your life that takes it from here up here and then maybe comes back down? Do you ever feel like you have searched for that or needed something like that made you relate to this character? I mean, maybe acting is something or different parts have done that for you?
For me, it's always experiences, different trips or festivals or this. I remember, it might sound kind of trite, but like going to Burning Man when I was 22 and being like, oh, I expected this, and instead I got this, and it was this.
Was it still fun?
It was so fun. I remember this young boy that reminded me of my brother being like, I heard you're supposed to bring things to this, to contribute. I know it's my first year, and he had all these glow sticks in a tube, and he accidentally tripped and dropped them, and we were all picking them up and putting them back in this tube. Just being like, it can be as simple as everybody fitting a glow stick back in a tube. It's just when you see people in life all across the world, and you hear people's stories and you see things that are extraordinary, and you realize how many people are required to put these things together, and it can be as extraordinary as something like that doesn't exist naturally in the world and like is in the desert, or can be walking down the street and seeing two people like sharing a beautiful moment. It's just, I think that my kind of like lust for life is founded very deeply rooted in just like living and experiencing different people in different situations.
Absolutely. I want to bring in one of our viewers, a big fan of yours, who's got a question. This is Danny. Hey, Danny.
Hey guys, how are you?
Really good.
You're in a loud place. What's up?
Yeah, I'm at school. but I really wanted to talk to Dianna, so it doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
Well, Dianna, as a huge fan of Glee, what I always liked about Queen is that she never gave up. Despite of all the things she suffered, she always knew how to control it and look for a solution for it. And I personally think she was a very wise character. So what I'd like to know is that, are those some characteristics you were able to find in Sarah? Were you able to bring it to her? Or was there anything from Glee that prepared you for this new role?
I think Sarah's such a different character, but I think that everything you do as an actor kind of informs the next job. The things that you learn on set. But I was so happy to play something that was just so completely different.
Mm-hmm. We have another question. It's a video question coming in from someone who has another question, I think, a bit about Glee. And I gotta say, going into this segment, I don't think I've ever hosted that many people from Glee before, but fans of Glee are really emotionally connected to those characters in ways that I've never seen people connected to characters before. It was mind-blowing for me seeing that, like the way that they were coming in, they talk about them like they're their friends, like they're close to them. Let's take a look at this one. This one's from Alexandra, who's actually in Guatemala.
Hola.
Hi. Well, 2014 was a really good year for you and your career. I want to know if you have any other role lined up for 2015 once you're finished with McQueen. Thank you.
Oh, that one wasn't specifically Glee. She had left 4 others that were.
Gotcha. There's a couple more films coming out this year that I did last year, and then I don't know, after the play's going to take, I'm prepping a play right now in London, and I'll be doing that for most of the year. So It's a little too far out to plan something after that, but I'll be busy for a while, so I'm happy.
Paz, you have a bunch of projects coming out this year, according to your IMDb, right?
According to, I have. I'm actually finishing my film that I'm directing finally.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Feature?
It's a feature film.
Wow.
I've been filming it for over 12 years.
Wow.
And it's quite a spiritual film. And I'm blessed to have worked with the directors that you noted, like Abel Ferrara and Gaspar Noé and Jarmusch and Natalia and Scorsese, who encouraged me to finish this film because it's about rebirth, it's about ascendance. My friend Billy Corgan says my films remind him of Jodorowsky in a good way, and I mean I don't know how it could be a bad way, but Jodorowsky is my favorite director.
Yeah, I can't think of a bad way that someone could be reminded of Jodorowsky.
So I'm really working hard editing that, and editing is a grueling but rewarding process.
What about spiritual rebirth affects you?
Okay, I mean, you talk about life-changing experiences. A lot of people don't know, I don't know why, but I was in a fatal car accident 3 years ago. I was hit by a stunt driver on a film set. I was in the hospital for quite some time, and I wanted to make my version of The Red Shoes, and I filmed in between surgeries. I didn't know I was going to make it. I continued to film regardless because I wanted to leave that behind, and then I had the surgery that saved my life, and then I made a full recovery. So I have been reborn in a sense, and I had that experience of my spirit leaving my body. And I can't describe that, but I
wouldn't dare to ask you to describe that.
But now it's on a other path of ascendance, and then I'm living more in Europe now, and I'm gonna work with a French director whom I cannot say whom yet.
Got ya.
And doing more. I did the Vivienne Westwood campaign, working with Vivienne Westwood and Jürgen Teller, and painting. I'm doing my first painting show in September. So
that's amazing, guys! Congratulations on the movie. It's an incredible portrait of these two lost souls. Is it fair to say lost and then found, or lost?
Sure.
Nobody likes anybody else describing their own movie. I totally understand. I could do this with you forever, and even if I was right, you go, I don't think, no, that doesn't sound good. Bear is showing this week at the Tribeca Film Festival. There are links in our resource well, so you can find out when it is playing, how you can get to see it. It is in New York City. Stick around. We got a lot more coming up here at HuffPost Live.